So the title of this presentation is Turning Doodle Train Failure into Success of Rail Maze. For those of you who doesn't know, Doodle Train and Rail Maze are games by Spooky House Studios, the company I work for, and we made Doodle Train, and it failed basically, and then we made Rail Maze. We remade Doodle Train into Rail Maze, and it succeeded. And I'm gonna go through the points what we changed to make that happen.
Можем поднять чуть-чуть? Неудобно, или он меня так нормально тоже слышит?
Ну, походу нет. Это все.
So Doodle Train is a game of tubes, plumber genre. There are many of those, and now and before Doodle Train there were games like that, but none of them actually used trains. And it's not simply using trains is not simply like changing the scheme. It actually changes the game mechanic, and we also added a bunch of stuff to differentiate ourselves even more from tube to plumber. Basically, the idea is to connect rails and to make the train go without friction. It features many new game concepts like switchable rails, which are not possible in tubes, plumber genre. Every level is kind of unique up until maybe level 30 at least. There are no repeating patterns. They all try to be very, very unique. And it has trains, and everybody loves trains. And here I was supposed here I was supposed to have a video. I'm going to switch over to YouTube just here for a second. If I can figure it out. I had it open here, and okay, here in Mozilla. Who uses Mozilla?
I didn't think that it will be in Mozilla.
Okay, here is a brief video. Video is worth a million words, so I'll just show it to you. So that's the Doodle Train as we released it about 4 years ago now. And now I'm going to try to go back to slides. Here my chart slightly moved, but what happens on this chart, you can see a bulge there, and there is one more before, and that is when we released the game.
Next video.
That was fun. I'm glad it's not my computer, because then it will switch over to completely strange stuff. So, we had a bulge there, and that bulge, this is a chart of new users, daily new users. You can't tell because it says days there, and you can see this bulge and then fall off, and that's when we promoted the game. There are two bulges. One of them is higher than this, and the first one was when FLURRY actually promoted our game back when we released it. Then it kind of didn't work because we gained some new users, and then we tried to promote ourselves, and it didn't work even worse. So we almost gave up on the game. We just stopped promoting it and moved on to something else. And then we started analyzing what happened. Back then, I had some background in iPhone gaming. Pavel, actually the main developer behind Railways, we already had one game that succeeded, and I had, with Spooky House Studios, one game that succeeded, and with other companies, more than three products that were runaway successes. So I had these rose-colored glasses on. I thought that everything we do is going to just work. But it turns out that it didn't. So there was a lot of... It's a funny story. Usually people say that we tried this, it didn't work, we tried that, it didn't work, but I'm saying that everything we did, it worked. It was simple back then. You just had to have original and fun concept of the game, and it just worked. But it didn't happen this time. We were not ready for it. Then I'm a believer of the fail fast methodology. I think that if you're bound to fail, you better realize it earlier rather than later. And that's almost what we did with Doodle Train. We thought that we failed, let's move on to something else. But then we thought that it's not quite the case here. We had to analyze what went wrong with the game. I think that we made a couple of brain mistakes because you see the icon here. It doesn't tell what the game is about. It said you can see that it has trains in it, okay, but you can't tell anything about the game concept. The icon is not descriptive. The name Doodle Train also doesn't say what you're going to do in the game. So that way we lose our target audience because we have a puzzle game about trains. But neither icon nor name actually earn prizes out loud. We also had some gameplay mistakes. We had too many tutorials early in the game, small amount of initially unlocked levels, no real-time mechanics to tweak amount of unlocked levels, and that's very important. Once you launch the game, if you don't have mechanisms to tweak it when it's live, you don't have any leverages to play with when you start realizing that something goes wrong. And we also had wrong default game mode. We had a couple of game modes to the game, and one of them that was the funnest, it wasn't the default. I don't know what we were thinking. We should have made it default from the ground up. Also, we had some additional things that we did wrong. Doodle style that I actually advocated for and Pavel wasn't a huge fan of. It started getting old in people. The promotion that we did was uncoordinated, but I think that even if it was coordinated, the game wasn't ready to be promoted. But that was one of the mistakes that we made too. And we had, back then, there was a famous thing called incentivized downloads. You could download something suggested by a game and then get something in the game for it. And then Apple started cranking it down. They didn't allow it after the Doodle Train, but when we released Doodle Train, it was still allowed, and I think that it was a big mistake to use that. But given all that, some of the players, they really love Doodle Train, and we have, I think everyone now has analytics in their games, And we have FLURRY in ours, and by FLURRY we could tell that not a lot of people install the game, but people who install the game, they absolutely love it because they spend a lot of time on it. They wrote glowing reviews in the store. So we saw that the game has some potential, but we knew that something is wrong, what we need to fix. And next time we're going to talk about how Rail Maze was born. Rail Maze is essentially a Doodle train, but that looks different, has a different name, has all the issues that we identified to fix. So, what we did to rebrand the game. Up there you can see a screenshot of an icon of Doodle train and a screenshot of an icon of Rail Maze. You can see that they, even though the concept is kind of similar, well, it's the same, but they look completely different. By the icon of Rail Maze, you can tell that it has rails, and they are obfuscated in a way that you might need to solve. So you can tell that it's a puzzle game. That way we target the audience who are into puzzle games. And the name also is screaming that it has rails, it has mazes, and it sounds pretty good. It's like Rail Maze, maybe rhymes with maze for amazing, if you didn't get it. We also tweaked a bunch of secondary stuff of secondary importance, but it helped eventually too. So we tweaked the difficulty curve, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later. We increased the amount of initially unlocked levels, and that you can do only if you have some input data, like stats from the previous version, or stats from the current version, but then you have to have online mechanisms to tweak the amount of unlocked content. Well, not online, but live mechanisms. Once the game is out, have some mechanisms built in that let you flip a switch on the server and let people and change the game in a way that is tweakable when it's live. We reduced the amount of compulsory tutorials, and we realized from then and forever that tutorials are bad. What is good is levels, the actual gameplay levels that teach you how to play while you play. That's what we did in Rail Maze then. And we made the funnest game mode to be default, finally. Then, after all these changes, we did a bunch of playtesting. Again, as with the Doodle train, we actually did a lot of playtesting, and it was tested pretty well. We saw the results that people are still playing, they love it, they love the new art. So from our standpoint, it was a fixed version of the game that was never broken in the first place, but the reaction of the market was completely different, because we released it on Mac App Store, and that's our sort of soft launch. We didn't soft launch in a single country on the App Store, on the iOS App Store, but instead we did it in a completely different market, which is Mac App Store, but it surprisingly behaves very similar to iOS App Store. So we went all the way to top 1 without any marketing globally and stayed there for 6 months, I think. And then the same thing with Rail Maze on iOS. It went top 1 without any marketing globally, and at its peak it was generating about 400,000 downloads a day, which is the biggest I've ever seen, even for the app in the top charts. And here is the fall-off curve of the downloads. It looks much better than the first one. Still didn't generate a lot of downloads afterwards, but it's much more impressive than Doodle Train's performance. So I already told a bunch of stuff that is on these slides, but I'll go over them quickly again. So what we did analyze is sessions, events, dropout rates, and stuff like FLURRY services. They allow you to do that. for free. So if you don't have analytics in your products, put them in. They don't cost anything, but they give you a lot of insights on what your players are actually doing. And here is what is called a follow-off chart. It shows that it basically shows every next bar shows you how many people got there from the previous level. These are levels vertically, and horizontally you can see how many people play them. So obviously first level is going to be played more than the second level. It's always the case. But what you should do, you should make sure that there is no steep fall-offs. Like what you see here, the first 4 levels, the fall-offs are horrible, and the first 4 levels are tutorials. So people who got through the first tutorial, only 90% of them got to second, and then only 90% of those to third, and then only, 70% of people who played the first level, they got through all the tutorials, even less than that. It's horrible. That if you see that kind of stats, then you should definitely fix it. And we did. And then you can see by the levels, actually people who got through tutorials, almost none, leave the game up until level 16. And at level 16 it was just too hard. That's why they started falling off again, and that we fixed too. So back then we called it brand testing. Now a lot of people use A/B testing. It's basically the same concept. You should put your brand into a banner and then show it to a bunch of people. You can buy ads, or you can show it to your audience who plays your game in your house ads. But the idea is to see the CTR rates. CTR is basically how many people click on the banner when they see it. And you're going for the highest CTR rate. If you show 2 banners, one of them called Doodle Train, another one called Rail Maze, and you get a better CTR rate on Rail Maze, then you probably should go with Rail Maze. That's what we did. And Rail Maze wasn't the only name that we tested. We tested a bunch, like Train Maze, Doodle Train, just to compare with the old one, Rail Labyrinth, Rail Maze, Railway, and a bunch of others. And here you can see the actual CTR rates, and Rail Maze performed the best. That's why we picked it. And also notable is that it has 1.3% CTR, while Doodle Train has 0.87, which is much, much less. Actually, usually when you do an A/B test, you'll see difference of about a couple %, but here it's what, 40%? It's a lot. We should definitely go for Rail Maze in this case. That's what we did. We did the same with the icon. You can see a bunch of icons. They're not finalized, it's just sketches. We wanted to see how people perceive different patterns on the icons. And with this CTR test, we also found that that icon that actually became the icon of Rail Maze performed the best. And this is what Edmo console looked like with all this CTR data. It's all zeros now because it doesn't preserve historical data, but it's basically what your dashboard will look like when you do a CTR test. And we launched it, as I said, with all the fixes that we did. Without any marketing, we reached, with the same game basically, we reached top 1 all over the world on iOS. And then on Android, it didn't perform just as good, but it was still very, very good performance. And now we on Android have more installs than we do on iOS, actually, with Rail Maze. And here, for comparison, I showed, the first video I showed was of Doodle Train, and here I have a promo video of Rail Maze, just for comparison. as you can see, we did a better job with the video as well. It's much more epic. I tried to keep it short because everyone is tired and we are approaching the end of the day here. But we have some time for questions.
Thank you for presentation. What I want to ask, how did you realize that you need to check? What tools did you use for analyzing that brand is not correct, that design is not correct, and other stuff?
When a project fails, you almost never know why it failed, and you start guessing. And we guessed, and then we tested our guesses, and they actually proved to be correct. That's basically how we did it. We didn't know for sure that it's going to work. We actually were pretty pessimistic about it. But we thought that we shouldn't give up on a project that has a lot of potential, that we see that people love, and we started trying different stuff. I don't know how we knew that the name, as I said, we had guesses that Doodle train is not descriptive and rail maze is much more descriptive, and then we got it proved by doing the A/B tests. That's how we made that decision.
Did you communicate with clients somehow?
Well, communication with clients is not always a solution. Obviously we have support and people write to us and they say what they don't like. But usually, no one writes to you and says, hey, I don't like this game, but if you change it this way, I'm going to like it. They just don't play. So we asked everyone we know if they liked Doodle Train, and they said yes. And then we asked them if they liked Rail Maze. They said yes too, and that's not a great comparison case. So we had to figure it out ourselves without asking anyone, just by doing some research.
Okay, хорошо. Ну, в любом случае, вы же какой-то search engine optimization или там какой-нибудь раскрутки, вариант раскрутки использовали в любом случае. Не может быть,
Абсолютно нет.
То есть вы просто выложили игру в iOS, на Apple Store, и она вышла сразу в топ. Ну, не сразу.
Она вышла сразу в топ во всем мире, кроме Америки. И у нас уже было такое один раз с другой игрой, и в Америке мы уже промоутили. Но в данном случае мы даже в Америке не промоутили, потому что появилась, тогда была такая компания Monster Free Apps, и им нужны были success case, и они искали приложения, которые имеют большой потенциал, и мы уже готовы были вложить какой-то бюджет в промоушен в Америке, и они без нашего вообще даже разрешения просто нас запромоутили в топ. Так было. И потом нам написали и говорят, мы запромоутили вас в топ, хотите сами промоутиться. А на самом деле, что произошло? Да, нет, они сказали так, с вас не надо денег, но, пожалуйста, можете поставить description нашего сервиса к себе первой строчкой в описании игры на месяц. Мы сказали, конечно, пожалуйста, мы ставили туда. Но они это делали не только с нашим эпом, они искали потенциально успешные application, которые они видели, что если эп выстрелил топ-1 во всем мире, а не выстрелил в Америке, значит в Америке просто не было какого-то триггера. Они дают этот триггер, они потратили совсем чуть-чуть. Поднять до топ-100, наверное, в случае этого эпа, а это тогда ничего не стоило. И она уже оттуда поднялась в топ-1. Уже топ-1 поднять, это очень дорого.
Ну, понятно, да, ну, спасибо.
Андрей, я хотел спросить, как ты родился в такой жизни? Как ты стал разработчиком? Вот это интересно мне, как это вообще получается?
Ну, я всегда хотел быть разработчиком игр. Я шел в направлении компьютерной графики, потому что это в играх необходимо, программирование компьютерной графики. Потом начал работать в этой теме, а потом, как появилась возможность заняться играми, чтобы зарабатывать себе этим жизнь, я, естественно, сразу же на это перескочил.
Что ты можешь посоветовать?
Там тоже были ребята.
Секундочку.
Так, говори.
Что ты можешь посоветовать тем ребятам, которые тут у нас в Молдове хотят начать разрабатывать игры и, может быть, их останавливает то, что они не уверены в своем будущем, они не уверены, что делать дальше, куда идти, к кому обращаться, что им делать, в принципе?
Я считаю, что сейчас довольно, по крайней мере, для меня довольно очевидно, что на играх, как и на любом другом софте, можно зарабатывать, даже не работая на себя, а работая на кого-то. То есть, если у вас будут скиллы, работы в геймдеве, то работу вы себе найдете, поэтому вы особо ничем не рискуете, если вы идете в этом направлении. А что бы я посоветовал, наверное, начать, может быть, не свое что-то делать, на кого-то поработать немножко, чтобы набраться опыта не за бесплатно, и потом, чтобы видеть, как это происходит. Потому что самому что-то сделать очень сложно, и сначала не имея никакого абсолютного опыта. И сейчас в Молдове есть много компаний, где я просто немного как сказать, в замешательстве, да. Я не знал, что у нас столько людей в этой теме, и благодаря вам я узнал об этом сегодня. Так что можно найти работу легко.
У меня такой вопрос. Разработка игры хорошая часть, но промоушен иногда намного важнее, чем сама разработка этой игры. С вашего опыта можете сказать, какими тулсами пользоваться при промоушене? Вы говорите, что не всегда incentives downloads работают, или они хуже работают, чем что-то другое. То есть какие-то дайте нам советы для тех, кто вот делает, и чтобы не натыкаться на те же камни, которые, может быть, вы натыкались, когда и промоутили эту игру или что-то делали. Потому что достаточно, может быть, изменить то, что вы говорили, изменить название. Можно изменять название, но если никто тебя не знает, трудно подняться наверх.
Да, конечно. Понял. Конечно, трудно подняться наверх. Это всегда большая проблема. Я лично не знаю рецепта успеха. Я знаю, что у нас работало, что нет. Но я знаю точно, что прежде чем начинать большую промоушен-кампанию, если вы делаете особенно платную промоушен-кампанию, прежде чем ее начинать, нужно попробовать на маленьком рынке. Мы всегда пробуем на каких-то маленьких рынках. Нужно подобрать похожий рынок на ваш. Если вы на Россию таргетитесь, тогда нужна какая-то другая страна, которая говорит по-русски. У нас здесь Белоруссия, в Украине много людей говорит по-русски, в Молдове. Если вы в них сделаете промоушен, посмотрите, как application перформит, будучи где-то видимым в чартах, уже вы будете представлять, как он будет в России. То же самое с Америкой. Есть Австралия, Канада, Великобритания, много чего. Поэтому я бы советовал начинать кампанию на маленьком рынке и потом скейлить это уже на большой рынок.
А я знаю, почему Андрей получил бесплатно раскрутить DROPOUT на первое место в свою игру. По одной простой причине, он человек просто очень удачливый. И вот мы ему даже дали по этому поводу небольшой подарок для нашего спонсора.